Okay, so we're ready to start adventure here. So we are just south of a place called Cove Inlet, which used to be a stop on the railway line. There was a spur, and there was a bunch of things that were happening here, and you can watch that in the railway videos. We're going to be stopping by Cove Inlet on another extra credit exploration. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to work our way from the south here alongside Orient Bay, this very, very beautiful spot, all the way to a place called Shadow Creek Road. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be stopping periodically because I need to use the drone. We just shot some drone footage here. Wanted to do a video of this place in the fall. It's a bit foggy today, which is a little bit frustrating. A lot of the parts of the grade here were built on fill, and so this is basically all fill. The shoreline used to be over there. So Orient Bay is a bay on Lake Nipigon. You're going to see lots of these, the cribs for the telegraph poles. And so it connects to the north with something called Pidgetawabik Bay. And then it goes into Lake Nipigon. Now, this used to be an outlet of the lake way back in geologic history. You can see there's another crib down there. Just absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous place. Nobody knows, seems to know the origins of the name Orient Bay, how it got this name. A lot of the names of places around here are indigenous. So for example, Pidgetawabik or Pidgetawabik Bay, basically in Ojibwe translates into Bay of the Rock Faces, which you can see these big rock ridges here. On my way here, I actually noticed something that I hadn't seen before. You can actually look down here and you can see what looks like discarded concrete ties. This is a very common thing that the railway would do in places. So there's a spot just north of Orient Bay Station, right at the bottom end of Pidgetawabik, where they've dumped these, and you're gonna see one up ahead. So basically these are used for erosion control. Right, so basically you can imagine the waves sort of smashing against here and eroding the grade. You're going to see lots of little access roads coming down. So here's one of them. This is the home of a guy by the name of Jerry. I've met Jerry on a few occasions. Nice guy. So in here somewhere, there was nothing on the other side, but in here somewhere, there's supposed to be a flanger sign for the crossing. There it is. You can see it down there. So if we haven't mentioned the flanger signs before, basically they are a warning sign. You see them anytime there's any type of crossing or any type of obstruction. And so essentially they tell the operator of the flanger plow. There's a blade that goes in between the two tracks, and usually there's side wings as well. So it tells the operator to retract the flanger, which is the one that actually goes in between the tracks and scoops out the snow, to retract it because of the level crossing. And you know, so it doesn't basically rip out the timbers on the level crossing. So here we are again on fill. There's a culvert here somewhere. There's actually twin culverts. They're newer metal culverts, so nothing overly exciting. There they are right there. So here used to be the location of a charter. Basically because of its connection to Lake Nipigon, right from the very, very beginning, Orient Bay. Here you can see another crib. Orient Bay used to be a very big spot for, and because the railway comes close to the bay, and you know, obviously you're in a bay, so the water's a little bit calmer. This was sort of a natural spot for people to access Lake Nipigon. So again, in another episode, we're going to talk a little bit about Orient Bay Station. So basically you got a lot of things happening here, right? So Cove Inlet, again, there was, you know, there was a spur. They were bringing in wood. There was later a marine base where they had boats that were moving logs on Lake Nipigon. And here, so there was, just up here, there was a place called Nighthawk Charters, where they used to run charters on Lake Nipigon. So here you can see one of the old private crossing signs for the several old crossings that were here. And I'm guessing that's the other sign there. And then here, this was Nighthawk Charters here. And here you can see a piece of a telegraph pole. And over here, really neat. There was back in 2005, right after the railway was shut down, there was an excursion. There was a motor car excursion that they did on the line, and they actually had some shots here passing by Orient Bay Station, and they actually passed by here. And you can see Nighthawk Charters, you can see the boat here, and there's actually a milepost marker with a flanger sign on it. And so here it is over here. It's been dumped over on the other side of the grade. All right, so there's your flanger sign, there's your milepost marker. So milepost 93. Again, we've mentioned this on numerous occasions. So the mileage that's shown on these markers is the one for the Kinghorn subdivision, which was the last sort of iteration of this line. Basically prior to that, when it was part of Canadian Northern Railway, when it was the Nipigon subdivision, and until 1960, when it was the Dorian subdivision, the mileage was different, because the Kinghorn started in Long Lac, but the Nipigon subdivision and the Dorian subdivision started in a place called Jellicoe. So the mileage is 49.7 miles less than it's shown on these signs. So here's the crossing here for Nighthawk Charters. Basically, you can see here, there's the private crossing sign for this side, and here's the private crossing sign on this side. And then over here, we have the flanger sign for the crossing over here. It's here, hiding here somewhere. There it is. There's the flanger sign right there. Okay, so let's pause for a second here, and then we'll get rolling again. Okay. So just a quick little jaunt over here, and we're going to pause again. Again, you can just see the beauty of the bay here, especially in the fall time with the leaves turning. Again, I mentioned in other videos that unfortunately here we don't have a great variation in the vegetation. Lots of poplar, lots of birch, so just basically a lot of yellow, tinge of orange. You might see a little bit of red here and there. I can kind of see some across over here. I mean, we don't have a lot of trees, maybe some small bushes and things like that turn orange or yellow, but most of it is it's yellow color. We're kind of right at the peak here. You can see some of the leaves have started to drop, but for the most part they're still on the trees. Give it probably by next weekend, you're going to see lots of leaves starting to drop, especially if the temperature goes down. I think next week today is supposed to be warm. I think tomorrow is supposed to be like 25 degrees, which is very unusual, but they're calling for a drop in the temperature by the end of next week or this week. So here you can see, again, you can see the length of Orient Bay stretching back that way, right? I don't know if you can kind of see it there, right where I'm pointing there. That's where Orient Bay Station is. And then on the other side of that's Pejutawabik Bay. So you can see this beautiful little cove here that's formed, and you can see all the concrete ties that have been dumped in here, all the rock fill. Again, this was a problematic area because of erosion. So the story is with these concrete ties, and I don't know kind of all the exact details, but these ties were defective. Whether CN used them and then found out they were defective, or they never even used them because there was something wrong with them. So they had apparently thousands of these concrete ties. And so they basically used them in places like this to, again, use as a form of erosion control. That the proper term for it's called rip wrap. And so you'll see these periodically. Like I said, there's 3 spots here. We've pointed out one. This is the... we pointed out the second one. This is the third one. And then there's a big section of it by, we were just there in June, between Nipigon and Red Rock. So another thing to point out, I don't know if you can kind of see it, there's a tree that's kind of jutting out here, and then there's a bunch of weeds, and I don't know if you can make it on the camera, there's actually a bunch of rails that are sitting in the water. And it's so neat. When I was here in 2020, the first time I came through here, I was like super excited. I'm like, oh my God, there's still a spur here. Ran down, took video and everything. As it turns out, it wasn't anything to do with the railway. So apparently those rails were put in there by Nighthawk charters to get their boat in and out of the water. So a little bit of a false alarm. Again, just an absolutely gorgeous area here. Again, with the colors. Again, we don't know exactly where the term Orient Bay came from. I kind of have this little theory, or this little idea, that when they built the railway through here, they got to this spot, okay, and it obviously would have been surveyed ahead of time, but maybe they thought it was kind of like a little bit of a, you know, the Shangri-La of this area, and you know, they thought it was you know, this amazing, breathtaking place, you know, with these beautiful rock ridges. They're called the Pidgetawabik Palisades, and so maybe that's why they called it Orient Bay. Again, I don't know. There's a piece of telegraph pole. So lots of stuff kind of happening in this area. Here's another access road that comes through. So this area is really neat. We were here not this past spring, the spring before. So spring of 2022, we came here and we redid the video footage for this area. So what's interesting is the geography of this area has actually been changed by the railway. So again, and this is kind of the thing I'm very fascinated about, is kind of the engineering and, you know, how they decide where they're going to put the railway line. So what ended up happening was, when they originally built the railway line through here, you know, you're trying to find the path of least resistance. What am I looking for here? I'm looking for, did I pass by it already? I'm looking for a culvert. I'm looking for a culvert. There's the culvert. So there's the culvert right there. Okay, so when the railway line came through here, and I'll put up a link to the I'll put up the video link to this video. So when we were here in 2022, explained the whole situation. We had the drone, we got some video of this area. So the issue is that originally the railway line, they didn't change the railway line, but originally the bay was different. So essentially the railway line here crossed from the eastern side of the bay to the western side. So that area over there, so just up there, I'm going to show you, that was actually attached to that shore. And here, right where this culvert is, used to be a 90-foot, I think it's 90 foot, I'm trying to remember the stats here. There was a trestle here. So there was a trestle here, and further up there was another trestle. So basically the bay, this is the original swing of the bay. So the bay comes here and then goes that way, and then comes around and crosses again. So you basically had a trestle here, you had a trestle there. They're both, I think, the same size, about 90-foot trestles. So when CN took over, they basically decided to do a little bit of changing. So what they did was they ripped out the 2 trestles and filled them in. So they basically put rock fill and filled them all in, put that culvert in over there to maintain the water flow. And then what they did was they redid the water flow, right? Because those trestles were basically an impediment to the movement of anything on the bay here. So this now part of the bay is now cut off. You basically have that one trestle, that one culvert that feeds water. This is the navigation channel now. So this was all excavated. So that all area there was all cut out. So again, that used to be, this piece here used to be attached to the western shore of the bay. Again, now it's cut off. So technically, we don't cross over to the west side of the bay up until we get to until we get a little bit further up. And so I'll drop the bike here, and basically you can see this channel that they cut, and you can see how, look at this, right? So you can basically see, look how all these rocks have all been sort of fitted in here, right? Because again, this was all rock fill that was placed. You don't see this in nature. You don't see all of these very symmetrically placed rocks. So again, this channel did not exist. So this was all done 1921-ish, 1922, right? Where they basically brought in big steam shovels. They cut this channel and then filled in the 2 trestles. And so it was quite a transformation. So again, if you I'll put a link to that video, and you can have a look at that. Okay, so we're just going to go a little bit further up here. So again, you can see how this, you know, if they built an embankment, if they built a causeway, they wouldn't build it all out like this. Again, that is all part of what used to be that western shore. Okay, it's starting to clear up a little bit. It's not sort of misty and gross like it was before. And so right up here, again, you can see the length of this channel. It's pretty extensive. And again, you wouldn't see this on a causeway, right? So again, this has just been cut out. You can see that sort of ridge on the other side. This may have been a geological feature. This may have been an esker or something like that. So right up here would have been the second of the 2 trestles. So right here you can kind of see there's sort of a natural little narrowing of the grade here. So this would have been this piece of land that sort of juts out here. And again, if you watch that, look at that video, you can basically see the maps and things like that, and you'll be able to sort of see it in a lot better detail. But again, you can just see the beauty here. You can see these ridges of the Palisades, and just an amazing view. You can hear some geese. Oh, and there's a flock of geese. That time of the year, they are heading south. And where the hell's the dog going? Luna! So here we go again. Just finished doing some drone work. Now we're back on the bike. So again, here we are passing yet another one of these access roads that goes down to a person's property. Actually see a couple of neat things here. So here you have a junction box for the fiber, so you can see the mileage, 93.53. You actually have a couple of the private crossing signs. No, didn't see a flanger sign here. Oh, we were out yesterday, and you're going to see that video. You'll see that one first before you see this one. And my that one was rough. I'm rather tired. My legs are sore. My glutes hurt. Plus, I'm very much under the weather. The colds have been going around the school, and so I've finally picked it up. And of course, right at the start of hiking season. So I remember the first time I came through here, this was kind of an unusual thing. I remember coming going, what the heck is this? Like, the railway grade does not go up hills like this. So basically what's happened is this property owner here, to be able to access his property, has basically filled in the grade here, and so created kind of this big hump and cut the embankments on both sides, so it makes it easier for them to kind of go up and down the side here. We don't usually get to coast on the railway grade like this. Looked for a flanger sign here on this side of this crossing coming up. So there's another crossing. Didn't see one. There's one on the other side. Let's just take a quick look again. I don't know what the dog's doing. You can see there's a rather large boat here. Again, you can just see the beauty of the Palisades. Here you can see some beautiful white pines. Again, this would have been a very, very beautiful section of the grade to go through. And right in here somewhere, there is a flanger sign for the crossing. Where is it? It's right up here. They're not easy to see. There it is there. So you can see the flanger sign. Again, just the beauty here, like, it's just unbelievable. Grab a picture of this. Okay, so a couple of things coming up here. So first of all, at some point, I think, oh man, I can't remember the dates here. There was a spur here, logging spur, I think over a course of a few years. Lots of little logging operations, lots of little spurs where they were cutting wood. So I think the spur is right here. And then, so right here, and then right here, this is, you can see kind of lots of stuff here. So this is McCollum's Reflection Lake Resort. So this is the last operating resort on Orient Bay. Remember last time I was through here, I talked to the owner, Laurie, and basically he told me that his father had come here and set up the resort back in the 1940s. So it's been here a very, very long time. It's just an amazing, amazing spot. Down here you can actually see another flanger sign. This one would have been on the other side, and it's for the bridge that's coming up. It's very unusual because it's got a bunch of stuff on it. So you can see the traditional flanger sign on the top, and then the two bottom ones, those are variation of the flanger sign. Those are obstruction warnings. So what we have is we have a bridge coming up, and basically that is, you know, a warning to not only pull up the flanger blade, but to retract the spreader because of the sidewalls of the sidewalls of the bridge. I actually have a few nice shots of this area. So if you go to my website, I'll put a link in the description, and there's lots of there's a few pictures on here that were taken from aircraft, and you can basically see the railway grade back in the 60s, I'm guessing, or maybe the 70s. Luna, come here. How you doing? Long time no see. Okay, and a nice little chit chat with Lori, the owner of McCollum's here. Again, you can just see the beauty of Orient Bay here, especially with all the colors here. So, a couple of things here. Actually, three things. So, first of all, you'll notice on this side here, a nice bullet-ridden sign. So that is that's a permanent slow order sign. So I'm guessing because of all of the crossings here, because of McCollum's and things like that, the trains were warned to slow down. Here we have the milepost marker for the bridge, so you can see 93.8. Again, that is the mileage on the Kinghorn, and so the original lines would have been 49.7 miles less. And here you can see this bridge. So this is a through plate girder span, okay, and basically the design of the bridge is these elevated sides give it the strength while allowing for the clearance underneath. So this bridge was replaced at the same time that those two trestles were done. And again, there was another trestle here, another 90-foot trestle. And the whole idea was basically to put this bridge in to allow navigation to the southern part of the bay, as opposed to having the trestle, which you couldn't get through. You can see here there's that little metal disc on there. So Department of Highways, that's a benchmark. And then the bridge here, kind of a little bit beat up. It's actually one of the only bridges that actually still has the barricades in place, that basically stops traffic from moving back and forth. I can get around with my bike, but obviously if you had some sort of ATV or something, other than maybe a dirt bike, you're not going to be able to get through. So just a quick little peek here. Down there is the date stamp, so probably can't see it, but it says 1920. So that was when the concrete abutments were done. I believe the actual bridge was put in place in 1921. Here you can see the bay itself. So on our way back, we have to, oops, sorry, Loon. We have to take a look at something. Lori told me, so up here there's a logging spur, and Lori told me that there was tar pit, so maybe they were doing ties, and he said that basically they were guessing they were coating the logs with ties there. All right, so let's look over here. So we've got something else here. So we saw that flanger sign on the other side. So here's the other one. So you can basically see this one's twisted like a pretzel here, full of bullet holes. So basically you can see the top flanger sign, and then you can see the wings, the obstruction flanger sign. You can see one's ripped off, so that one's missing, but you can certainly see the other one. Okay, so let's just work our way up over there. We'll stop here, and there's a couple of things. We're going to fly the drone again. Again, you can just see the beauty of Orient Bay. You can see how close we are to the highway. So that's Highway 11. That is the northern route through this part of Ontario. So at Nipigon, which is to the south of us, the highway splits. So Highway 11-17 becomes Highway 11. That goes this way. Highway 17 follows the lake. Lots of transport traffic on this highway. Basically, the transports like to go the northern route because it's flatter. It's a little bit longer, but from here to Toronto, it's a little bit more conducive. The only problem is you can just see the amount of traffic that's on the road. The number of transports is just crazy on this piece of highway. There's actually a little waterfall that comes down here. When we were here 2 years ago shooting some drone footage, that was flowing. It's been pretty dry this spring, so no water. All right, so another little stopping point here. So down here, first time I was through, I didn't notice this. Obviously you can see it now with you know, I saw it with the leaves down. So basically we have another milepost marker. So this is milepost 94. There she be there. You can see it's all full of bullet holes as usual. Wouldn't be right without the bullet holes. Okay, so we're gonna pause here for a bit because we're gonna yank out the drone, and we're gonna do a little bit of flying here and get some more colors. The mist has stopped and the fog's lifted a little bit. It's much brighter, but it's actually kind of neat for the colors because you don't get crazy shadows and things like that, so the colors tend to pop a little bit more. All right, let's resume our journey here after another drone stop. Lost a lot of time waiting for the fog to clear. It's 11:30, and I'd like to do another drone stop here. Wind's picking up a little bit, so again, you can just see the beauty of here. If it was just a tad bit brighter, not gonna complain, it's not raining. And it's not super sunny that everything's all washed out. There's big shadows everywhere. Okay, Mooney's with us. So our next stopping point is just going to be up here. There was the site of a logging spur in the 1950s. When I was talking with Lori at McCollum's, told me that there's actually a big tar pit. And obviously they were it's probably creosote. They were probably putting creosote on the ties, probably cutting railway ties. Yeah, there's certainly a bit of a breeze now. So again, just it's a nice fall day. It's the 1st of October. So as I mentioned, we were out yesterday. That was our first kind of railway adventure in a while. Basically what we were doing yesterday was we were by Cameron Falls, and we kind of did an extra credit episode from Cameron Falls all the way down to the Nipigon River Bridge. And we were there to shoot some drone footage for that exploration video that we did or redid in the spring. And again, we're here today because I wanted to get some drone footage in the fall time of this area and kind of do like a little special video of this area, because it is the most beautiful area of the railway line, and I wanted to sort of capture it from the air by drone. Here it looks like there was a washout. This area has been replaced. You can see the ballast looks a little different. See if there's a culvert or something. You can definitely see there's a change in the ballast. It must have been, I say this a lot, but it must have been something that to come through here with the railway in the fall time. You know, just the colors, and it's actually kind of a bit of a shame that there isn't more. Being a secondary line, there was only limited traffic, and there's not a ton of photographs of this line. You know, if it was still running today, I'm sure people would be grabbing shots of it with the drone, with the highway just being just over there. It would have been really easy to snap some pictures of the train passing through, the colors. So again, this is all fill. You can see the old shoreline is right there. So again, quite a bit of effort to build this. And there are some pictures. There are some pictures that were taken by a guy named Isbister. Isbister was one of the engineers that was working for Canadian Northern, building this line, and he did take a whole bunch of pictures of this line being constructed. I don't know if I have one on my website or not. But you can see them basically putting in fill here in Orient Bay. Oh, so here, right where this culvert is, when they were building the line, they actually had a list of stations that they proposed, and there's a document. It's called Altitudes in Canada, 1915. And in the document, it actually has two entries for this railway line, so the railway between Sudbury and Port Arthur. And on there, it basically shows kind of a tentative list of stations. So one of the ones it mentions is Crowther. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly. Crowther. And when the final list of stations came out, it wasn't included. So basically you have Orient Bay Station, which is at milepost 91. And so that on the original lines, that would be 41.3. And then you have McCurdy, which is up here, close to milepost 100. So didn't really make sense to have a station kind of halfway in between. Just making sure the dog's with us here. We were out yesterday, and then the ballast is a little thick here, so just keep an eye on her paws. We talked about some of the issues with her paws and the ballast. Yesterday we had the trailer out, so she walked the way down, and then I biked her most of the way back, and I was exhausted. That was not particularly fun. It was quite warm yesterday. Today's not cool, obviously with the cloud, but tomorrow, as I mentioned, tomorrow and Tuesday, so Monday and Tuesday is supposed to be like crazy warm, and then the top temperatures are supposed to drop. I think for next Saturday they're calling like 9 or 10 degrees Celsius. Which would be a pretty big departure from the temperatures we've been getting. Hopefully, I've got a big hike planned next Saturday. We're going to be up on the other side of Jellicoe, east of Jellicoe, near Kinghorn station. That's a decently long hike. That's about a 5-mile hike hopefully it doesn't rain. So here you can see another crib for the telegraph pole. This is it. So here, this is what Lori was talking about. So right in here, I hate when Luna just stops in front of me. Right in here, there was a spur in the 1950s belonging to the, I believe, the St. Lawrence Corporation. And they were doing logging. You can see kind of this thing right off to the side here. He said, so you can see sort of this elevated, and there's a spot here where there's coal. There's the coal. Just up there. So is this the tar he was talking about? I thought it was rock. Yeah, that's tar. That's tar. Look at that. That's all creosote. Yeah, look. She gives. You can see there's a pole in here. It's like welded in there. Wonder if that, usually that looks like the ones they have signage on. I guess because it's a little bit, yeah, that's all. It's all creosote. Maybe he was here in the summer and it was soft. He said he sunk right into it and he couldn't get it off the tires of his thing, of his vehicle. Here you can see there's a, looks like a piece of rail. Where's that coal? Coal is over here. There's a spot where there's a pile of coal, a little pile of coal. Right here. You can see all the black coal. This is all coal. You can feel it, it's all super light. It's all crumbly. Yeah, so that looks like the spur right here. I bet you if you ran a metal detector over here, you could find spikes and things like that. I wonder if we can see any indentations from the ties. That's the base. There's a power. It used to be, so the telegraph line was on the north side of the grade. On the south side, there was a power line. So there's a base of one of the power line poles, and you can always tell them because they have this metal skirting around them. I don't feel any indentations, but it's obvious, like you can see it right here. Okay, so we're gonna pause again here. We're gonna throw up the drone again, and then we're gonna resume our journey. All right, so we're going to walk this last little section of the grade here, and the reason being is because the end of the hike is just up there, and there's actually a trailer that's parked. There's actually a trailer that's parked on the grade, and when I pulled in this morning where I normally park, there was a bunch of dogs outside, and they were barking and barking and barking, and of course that's not going to go well with Luna, so I had to make sure I hooked her up here. We lost the selfie cam here. The battery died, and I don't feel like changing it. Hopefully this one makes it. So here you can see, as we're getting towards the bottom end of Orient Bay, the road that's up ahead is Shadow Creek Road. Kind of runs that way up into the mountains of Shadow Creek. So here you can see basically they put this road in and kind of filled in a little bit of the bay, Don't know if you can get a boat through there because they're still part of the bay. And then again, this used to be an outlet of Lake Nipigon. So basically the water used to flow to the south, but obviously in more modern times, more recent geological history, that no longer happens, and there's a creek called Kemel Creek that actually the water flows in here. And so a little bit ahead there's actually a concrete culvert, they call it a bridge, that's there. So last little thing that we're going to take a look at here, you can actually see that there's another milepost marker. So this one is right here. Spent forever looking for it, and then just happened to notice it on the other side of the grade here. You can hear the dog going. So there's milepost 95. You can see it's just absolutely twisted like a pretzel. So anyway, so this brings us to the end of our exploration and our little adventure for today.